Another selection from Kahlil, Jesus the Son of Man. His words and his deeds, as told and recorded by those who knew him. Nicodemus the poet, the youngest of the elders in the Sanhedrim. Many are the fools who say that Jesus stood in his own path and opposed himself, that he knew not his own mind, and in the absence of that knowledge confounded himself. Many indeed are the owls who know no song unlike their own hooting. You and I know the jugglers of words, who would honor only a greater juggler. Men who carry their heads in baskets to the marketplace and sell them to the first bidder. We know the pygmies who abuse the skymen, and we know what the weed would say of the oak tree and the cedar. I pity them that they cannot rise to the heights. I pity the shriveling thorn, envying the elm that dares the seasons. But pity, though enfolded by the regret of all the angels, can bring them no light. I know the scarecrow whose rotting garments flutter in the corn, yet he himself is dead to the corn and to the singing wind. I know the wingless spider that weaves a net for all who fly. I know the crafty, the blowers of horns, and the beaters of drums, who in the abundance of their own noise cannot hear the skylark nor the east wind in the forest. I know him who paddles against all streams but never finds the source, who runs with all rivers but never dares to the sea. I know him who offers his unskilled hands to the builder of the temple, and when his unskilled hands are rejected, says in the darkness of his heart, I will destroy all that shall be builded. I know all these. They are the men who object that Jesus said on a certain day, I bring peace unto you, and on another day I bring a sword. They cannot understand that in truth he said, I bring peace unto men of good will, and I lay a sword between him who would peace and him who would a sword. They wonder that he who said, my kingdom is not of this earth, also said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. And know not that if they would indeed be free to enter the kingdom of their passion, they must not resist the gatekeeper of their necessities. It behooves them gladly to pay that dole to enter into that city. These are the men who say, he preached tenderness and kindliness, a filial love, and yet he would not heed his mother and his brothers when they sought him in the streets of Jerusalem. They do not know that his mother and his brothers in their loving fear would have had him return to the bench of the carpenter, whereas he was opening our eyes to the dawn of a new day. His mother and his brothers would have had him live in the shadow of death, but he himself was challenging death upon yonder hill that he might live in our sleepless memory. I know these moles that dig paths to nowhere. Are they not the ones who accuse Jesus of glorifying himself, in that he said to the multitude, I am the path and the gate to salvation, and even called himself the life and the resurrection? But Jesus was not claiming more than the month of May claims in her high tide. Was he not to tell the shining truth because it was so shining? He indeed said that he was the way and the life and the resurrection of the heart, and I myself am a testimony to his truth. Do you not remember me, Nicodemus, who believed in naught but the laws and decrees, and was in continuous subjection to observances? And behold me now, a man who walks with life and laughs with the sun from the first moment it smiles upon the mountain until it yields itself to bed behind the hills. Why do you halt before the word salvation? I myself through him have attained my salvation. I care not for what shall befall me tomorrow, for I know that Jesus quickened my sleep and made my distant dreams my companions and my road fellows. Am I less man because I believe in a greater man? The barriers of flesh and bone fell down when the poet of Galilee spoke to me, and I was held by a spirit and was lifted to the heights, and in midair my wings gathered the song of passion. And when I dismounted from the wind, and in the Sanhedrim my pinions were shorn, even then my ribs, my featherless wings, kept and guarded the song, and all the poverties of the lowlands cannot rob me of my treasure. I have said enough. Let the deaf bury the humming of life in their dead ears. I am content with the sound of his lyre, which he held and struck while the hands of his body were nailed and bleeding.